Jai Hind, dear students. I am Dr. Preeti, and we are going to continue with our revision for the chapter Acids, Bases, and Salts. In the previous video, we have seen about indicators, the reaction of acids and bases with different substances like metals, metal oxides, then about the reaction of metals with acids with bases, all that we have seen in the previous video. Today we are going to see more about acids, bases and also about the salts. So we will talk first about the pH. Okay. So in the previous video we have seen that we can test that if a given substance is acidic or basic by use of litmus paper. That was one of the natural indicators. So if litmus paper is made to react with acids, it turns red, and if it is made to react with base, it turns blue. But what about an acid like sulfuric acid? And how can we differentiate it from lemon juice that is having citric acid? By use of litmus paper, we were not able to differentiate between different acids, that how much acidic they are. But by the use of pH paper, we can find out that a given substance is having more acidic nature or less. Similarly for the bases as well. So in pH paper, we use a universal indicator, which is a mixture of various indicators, and it will give different color changes for different substances. For example, the color changes will be different for sulfuric acid and that for citric acid. So that color change will tell us that that substance is acidic or basic, as well as how much acidic it is. Okay, so what is pH? Let's talk about that. You could be asked define pH also. So pH word stands for potence of hydrogen. Remember that it stands for potence of hydrogen. And what is this potence? Potence means power. It is a word that means power. So it's potence of hydrogen, that means power of hydrogen. And this pH paper will give you the concentration of hydrogen ions in a solution. So what is about it? How much acidic or how much basic a substance is on the basis of pH? How can we find out? So if the pH is 7, that is a neutral solution. That is a neutral solution. And the pH is decreasing, it's going towards 1, then it is acidic. The lesser the pH, the more acidic it is. For example, if you have two substances, one is having the pH say 5 and another one is having pH 2, then which one will be more acidic? The one that is having pH 2 is more acidic. So by this pH paper, we can find out that which substance is acidic and basic, as well as how much acidic it is. Different color changes are there for different substances. Same way, if the potence of hydrogen is decreasing, means that the pH is increasing. For example, we have two substances, one is having pH 8 and the other is having pH 14. Then the one which is having the pH 14, that will be more basic in nature. So the basic nature is going to increase as much as the pH is going to increase, and lesser the pH, the more acidic a substance is. So if you are given that arrange the following in the acidic behavior, which one is more acidic? So if you are given 2, 6 and 8, so 2 is more acidic than 6 and 6 is more acidic than 8, because 8 is actually basic in nature. 7 is neutral, towards lesser it is acidic, and it goes higher than it is basic in nature. Okay, now we need to remember the pH of some common substances that are there in our day-to-day life. So that you need to remember, that is given in the form of a diagram in your NCERT book. So only those pH you need to remember. For example, for gastric juice, the pH is 1.2. If we talk about lemon juice, it's approximately 2.2. Okay. Now, the normal pH of mouth should not be less than 5.5. If it is less than 5.5, suppose it's 4, then it's too acidic for our mouth. Okay, then it starts damaging your teeth. So the normal pH of the mouth should not be less than 5.5. Then apart from that, 7 is neutral. But what is the pH of blood and normal water? That is 7.4. 7.4 is the pH of blood and water. Okay. Then 10. 10 is the pH of milk of magnesium. What is this milk of magnesium? Milk of magnesium stands for magnesium hydroxide. It's a base and it's used as an antacid. Sometimes when you are having acidity, you have taken something fatty food and you are having a lot of acid in your mouth, or you're having feeling that acidity or burning pain in the stomach, then you can take some medicine to relieve that acidity. So that acidity would be relieved by a base, and that base used for relieving the acidity is milk of magnesium. Okay, also it is also known as an antacid. Okay, it's against acidity, so it's antacid. Then comes a pH of sodium hydroxide. Sodium hydroxide is a powerful base. Its pH is somewhere around 40. Okay, so these you need to remember. 1.2 gastric juice, 2.2 lemon juice, then 7.4 it's blood as well as water, then 10 milk of magnesium, and NaOH sodium hydroxide, that will be having a pH of 14. So these 4-5 pH you need to remember. Now we will talk about pH in our daily life. In our daily life also, pH is very important. Some common examples are there in our day-to-day life where the pH of that particular thing becomes important for us. Okay, so one by one we are going to talk about certain things. First we'll talk about the pH of soil. The soil should be having a particular pH. That value is not mentioned in the book, but somewhere around 6 to 8. Okay, this value is not given in the book, so you need not memorize that. So the pH of the soil should be appropriate for the growth of plants. Now, if there is rainwater that is having the acid content in that, that is known as acid rain. Why acid rain occurs? Because you know that in the atmosphere, due to pollution, there are oxides of sulfur, nitrogen. Apart from that, carbon dioxide is there. So when these all oxides are there, these are all basic oxides. These are all non-metal oxides, and non-metal oxides are acidic in nature. So when these oxides are there, they mix with rainwater and cause acid rain. When acid rain is there, then the pH of the soil decreases, and now it's not appropriate for the growth of the plants. Now, in that condition, what will be happening and what are the farmers going to do? This is important because that's given as an NCERT question also. So if the pH is not proper, then the plant growth will not be proper. The plants will not be able to grow properly. And to manage with that, farmers usually add calcium oxide or calcium hydroxide to the soil. Calcium oxide or calcium hydroxide is added to the soil by the farmers to neutralize that pH, so that the soil is having a normal pH and the plants can grow very well. Okay, so that is about the pH of soil. Next comes the pH in our digestive system. Okay, so first we'll talk about the pH of mouth and then we'll talk about the pH of stomach. pH of the mouth, if we talk about it, then the pH of the mouth should not be less than 5.5. I told you just now. So it should be neutral or it's slightly acidic also. But why it is going to decrease? Because I told you that if it is less than 5.5, that would damage our teeth. So why the pH is going to reduce? If you eat something, then the bacteria start growing on the stuck food items. If you eat something, you should brush your teeth properly. But if you don't brush your teeth, especially at night, then the bacteria are going to act on that food items and produce acids. That acids produced will lower the pH of your mouth, and if it is decreasing below 5.5, then that with decreased pH will damage the enamel of our teeth. This enamel of our teeth is made up of a material known as calcium hydroxyapatite. Calcium hydroxyapatite is the chemical that is forming our enamel, but this enamel is the hardest substance in our body. It's even harder than bones. But still, this enamel will be damaged by the acid produced by the bacteria. And that will be damaged, and that will lead to dental caries. Dental caries means, in general language, know it as दांतों का सड़ना. So that will lead to damage of our teeth. So what can we do for that? One thing is that we should not leave any food particles in our mouth. We should brush our teeth properly after your dinner especially. Apart from that, the toothpaste that we are using, that is also having a basic nature, and that will neutralize the acid produced by the bacteria. Okay. Next comes the pH in our digestive system. In our digestive system, especially in the stomach, hydrochloric acid is produced by the stomach for the digestion of food and for destroying the microorganisms. But if there is excess secretion of this hydrochloric acid, that will lead to acidity and burning pain in the stomach. This could be relieved by taking some antacids like magnesium hydroxide, MgOH. And I hope you remember its pH is approximately 10. So this magnesium hydroxide, being basic in nature, it will neutralize the acid produced by the HCl, and that will relieve the acidity caused. Okay, so that is there. In nature also, the ant stings, bee sting, you must have got a sting because of some ant or of some bees. So that is causing a burning pain, and that pain is due to an acid present in their sting. So ant sting as well as bee sting contains an acid, and that is known as methanoic acid. Methanoic acid's common name is formic acid. So if you find somewhere that it's given that the ant sting contains formic acid, don't be confused. Don't feel that I have told you wrong. It's correct. Formic acid and methanoic acid are the same only. Formic acid is the common name and methanoic is the scientific name. So methanoic acid is there in ant sting, bee sting, and that only causes a burning pain. Okay. Now I would like to tell you two things extra about it. Okay, that are sometimes important for NSO exams and all. All the insect stings are usually acidic in nature, but only wasp bite, WASP, wasp bite, that is basic in nature. Do you know what is wasp? Wasp looks somewhat like a bee only, but it's yellowish in color, and in Hindi it's known as tataya. Okay, so that wasp bite is basic in nature. Apart from that, all insect bites are acidic in nature. If they are acidic in nature, then how can you neutralize that pain? That is also extra. I'm telling you, you can apply some baking soda over it. Try to do that next time, and or a bee stings you, then apply some baking soda over that, baking powder or baking soda over that. That will neutralize that burning pain by neutralizing that acid. Okay, so that will give you some relief. So this is there in ant sting, bee stings. In nature also, do you know some plants are there that produce methanoic acid, and if you get rubbed by that plant, you will still have that burning pain, and the name of that plant is nettle plant. So nettle plant is a plant that produces methanoic acid, and if you get rubbed by that plant, then you will be having the burning pain. But nature is really amazing. Wherever in nature there is nettle plant, there is an antidote for the nettle plant around that only. So if you go for tracking and you happen to just get rubbed by nettle plant and you are having a burning pain, the nature has provided its antidote nearby only. You can find nearby only a dock plant. Dock plant is having some basic secretions, and so if you rub the dock plant over the area where you are having burning pain, that will neutralize the pain due to nettle plant. So nettle plant is having some acidic secretions, that is methanoic acid, that will cause the pain, and to neutralize that, nature has provided dog plant that usually grows around that nettle plant only, and that has basic nature that can neutralize the pain caused by nettle plant. Isn't that amazing? Next about is that uh, now we have like Venus. Venus is one of the planets, you all know, and on Venus also you will find yellowish white cloud, whitish yellowish clouds are there, and those clouds are made up of sulfuric acid. Okay, so Venus has some whitish yellowish clouds, and those clouds are made up of sulfuric acid. Okay, so that is the reason for those clouds on Venus. Then we should know some of the common acids present in some common day-to-day items, such as ant sting. You all know it's methanoic acid. Bee sting also methanoic acid. Nettle plant also methanoic acid. But what about lemon juice? Lemon juice has citric acid. Orange juice, that is also having citric acid. What about tomato? Tomato is having oxalic acid. And tamarind is having tartaric acid. Tamarind is having tartaric acid. Which acid is present in curd? The sour curd is having lactic acid in it. Okay. What about vinegar? Vinegar is having acetic acid. And I hope you remember what is acetic acid? Yes, red in carbons compound. Acetic acid is the common name for ethanoic acid. Okay, so we read about vinegar also, na? That vinegar is just 5 to 8% of acetic acid mixed in water. That we call it as vinegar. So these are some of the common acids that are there around us, and you should know the names of these acids present in different substances, because that could be asked as 1 marks question. Now, after completing with these acids and bases, we will move on to salts. Uh, One of the commonly occurring salt around us is common salt, that is NaCl. It's also known as rock salt because sometimes it occurs in the form of huge rocks. Okay, you can get raw NaCl from the ocean water by evaporating it, or sometimes you find it as big rocks. Like, you must be aware about the mining of coal. Similarly, mining of salt is also done. At places you get big deposits of this rock salt. So this NaCl is very commonly occurring substance in nature, and this NaCl is used to prepare many other salts. One of the compound that is prepared for using NaCl is NaOH, that is sodium hydroxide, that we will study in this video, and all the remaining salts that we will study in the next video. So what is NaOH? NaOH is sodium hydroxide, and how this sodium hydroxide is prepared on industrial scale, that we carry out the electrolysis of brine. Okay, so what we do is we take a container and we pass brine in that. What is brine? This aqueous NaCl. NaCl mixed in water is known as brine. So that is introduced in this container, and this container is having a electrodes, a positive terminal and a negative terminal is there, connected to the battery with a switch. So when you will carry out the electrolysis, what reaction will be going on is NaCl is there and water is there. So when you pass electricity through it, NaOH will be formed in the solution. Apart from that, chlorine gas and hydrogen gas will be formed. Chlorine gas and hydrogen gas will be formed. Both these being gases, they will escape out. Chlorine being negatively charged, it will pass out at anode. So at anode, you will find chlorine gas escaping out, and at cathode, The cathode is negatively charged, so we will find hydrogen gas escaping out near cathode. Okay. Apart from that, we will get NaOH, so that will be moved out of this furnace, out of this container. So we will be finding brine containing NaOH. Some brine will be there, and that will be containing sodium hydroxide that will be formed. Okay. Chlorine being negatively charged, it will be attracted towards the positive terminal of the battery, that is anode, and hydrogen being positively charged, it will be attracted towards the cathode. So that will be separate out, and we are not going to waste this chlorine and hydrogen gas form. They will be used for manufacturing of different substances. For example, we are going to use all these three substances, so we should know the use of these substances, at least two uses of each. This chlorine is acting as a very good disinfectant. You must have heard about chlorinated water. Okay, in swimming pools also, for disinfection of swimming pools also, we use chlorine. Apart from that, for formation of CFC, chlorofluorocarbons, chloro word is there which represents chlorine. So for manufacturing of chlorofluorocarbons also, CFC, we use this chlorine. Apart from that, PVC means polyvinyl chloride. PVC pipes are there, na? So PVC coating is there on the wires also, copper wires and all insulated wires. They are also having a coating of PVC, polyvinyl chloride. So that is all prepared by using the chlorine formed during the process. Apart from that, we have hydrogen gas escaping out. This hydrogen gas is also very important. It's used as a fuel. It's used for the synthesis of fertilizers, margarine. So all these are prepared by using the hydrogen. This sodium hydroxide is very useful in industries. This sodium hydroxide is used in paper industries, soap industries. So we have seen about soaps and detergents. In that also, we have seen that we were using for the synthesis of soaps, we are using NaOH. So this NaOH is very important and used in different industries like soap industry, paper industry, all that is going to use NaOH. Okay. Degreasing of metals also requires NaOH. So if their metals are there and they are highly greased, so to clean them, to degrease them, that for that purpose also we use NaOH. Okay. This process is very important because of its name also. The name of this process is chlor-alkali process. Chlor-alkali process. Now, why chlor-alkali process? Chlor stands for Cl2, that is chlorine gas formed during the reaction, and alkali stands for NaOH, that is formed during the reaction. You know that alkali is a soluble base and NaOH is one of the soluble base, also known as alkali. So this is the chlor-alkali process because of the formation of chlorine and NaOH, which is an alkali. Okay, so you could be asked in your exam to explain chlor-alkali process, or you could be asked to explain what will happen when electricity is passed through brine, or when electricity is passed through aqueous NaCl, or when NaCl is dissolved in water and electricity is passed through it, what will happen? So any of these questions will be having the same answer, that is this chlor-alkali process needs to be explained. Okay, so I hope this much is clear to everyone. Now in the next video we are going to see about many salts, but that's all for this video. Okay, so have a nice day everyone.